Welcome to Deeper Waters. My name is Christian Taylor, and I'm so excited you're joining me on this journey. My number one mission and prayer for this channel is that it calls believers of Jesus into a deeper daily relationship with Him. If you call yourself a Christian, if you go to church, but you feel like you're stuck in that place of head knowledge without walking with Jesus daily, this channel and project is for you. While I know this channel will have a global audience, I want to focus on America for a minute. 65% of Americans identify as Christians. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like if 65% of Americans were genuine Bible-believing Christians walking with Jesus daily, our society would look a lot different than it does. So what do we make of this? Well, I know it, you know it, a lot of Christians struggle with surrendering fully to Jesus. We claim the name of Jesus, we know a couple Bible verses, we go to church every Sunday, but our lives aren't reflecting a true relationship with Him on a daily basis. That's what I want to call believers out of here on this channel. And even if you are walking daily with the Lord, you can always go deeper. My prayer is that this content inspires you and empowers you to go deeper with your faith and your relationship with the Lord. So that's my elevator pitch on the project. If that's all you came for, you can go check out the next video. But I want to share my story and help you understand how I got to this place. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christian Taylor, also known online as Krayler, and I've been a full-time YouTuber for over 5 years. I started my channel when I was 10 years old, and content creation has always been my passion. It's the thing that I come back to again and again, even as other interests in my life rise and fall. Growing up, I always thought I was going to be a rich billionaire businessman. I thought I would be the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. My vision was always that I would make good money and then I would practice philanthropy and give that money away to the church and to people in need. I felt like the way I could make the biggest impact on the world was to make as much money as possible and write big checks to organizations who could then go share the gospel, dig the wells, feed the poor, or whatever ministry they have. I formed this idea because I've always been a passionate and driven individual, someone who likes choosing my own adventure. By the time I graduated high school, my channel was making enough to be considered a decent part-time income. I decided not to go to college and pursue YouTube, and within a year, it was making a serious full-time income. That was 5 years ago, and I haven't looked back. So this really started feeding into the idea that I would make a lot of money and be a successful businessman. And I want to be clear, I have been successful. I am incredibly blessed and grateful to make a full-time income off of YouTube doing what I love. However, I recognize that if I want to reach my big ambitions in life and be able to give away a ton of money and write huge checks, I've got to make a lot more money than what a solo creator could make on YouTube. I mean, I dreamed of making millions or even billions of dollars, and unless you're Mr. Beast, that's not happening on YouTube, at least not by yourself. So for the past 2 or 3 years, I've just been coasting. I enjoy making YouTube content, but there's little growth trajectory in my business. And as I reflected on the vision for my life over the past year, that's when I realized that I don't think I am the next Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. My actions haven't been reflecting that of a billionaire businessman. I don't desire to start a bunch of companies and go after VC funding and pull all-nighters sleeping on the office floor in hopes that we close the big deal. Now, I'm not knocking this. I think ambitious businessmen are incredibly inspiring and can do great work for the kingdom. But I started reflecting, why is it that I haven't naturally done this yet? And if I haven't, what does that mean? Does that mean that my calling could actually be somewhere else? At the same time, I'd been feeling more and more distant from God. I wasn't spending much time in the Word or prayer, and I hadn't gone to church that often because of my travel schedule. It was bothering me more and more, and back in October, I had a radical encounter with the Lord. I was attending Vid Summit in Dallas, Texas. Vid Summit is a conference for serious content creators. It's kind of like my annual retreat where I get to be with like-minded individuals who understand the ins and outs of YouTube and the unique struggles of full-time content creators. Now, VidSummit is not a Christian conference, but God used it to encounter me in a powerful way. See, at the conference, I ran into my friend David Altizer. Now, David is an industry legend and makes thumbnails for some of the top creators on the platform. But before David was creating thumbnails, he had a successful YouTube channel under the name Dave Mays. One day, the Dave Mays channel just disappeared, and all of a sudden, David, the same creator, started making thumbnails. I never understood why David made this pivot, so when I saw him, I asked, "Hey, David, why did you just stop making videos on the Dave Mays channel and become a thumbnail artist?" David shared his testimony and said that he was fasting and praying, and God told him to delete his YouTube channel. So he did. And then, out of necessity to put food on the table and provide for his family, he started doing freelance thumbnail work because that's a skill that he had. I will never forget the emotions I felt when I realized that my YouTube channel had become an idol in my life. That if God had asked me in that moment to delete my channel, I would have just said, nope, not doing it, God. Or I would have said, I don't know, is that really God speaking? And this moment, this encounter bothered me for days. For the rest of VidSummit, I wrestled with this. What I concluded by the end of VidSummit was that I wasn't living a life fully surrendered to God. I was willing to give him some parts of my life, but not all of them. When I fully reconciled this and got to the place where I was willing to delete my YouTube channel if God had asked that of me, in that moment, God hit me with a request that was very challenging. He asked me to start preparing for something in another area of my life. This was an area of personal formation where I had been resisting God's leading. So it made total sense that God would say, okay, well then give me this part of your life that you've been gripping onto. With this new heart posture of full surrender to God, I knew I had to be obedient. And I've found that as I'm spending more time in the Word, in prayer, and actually being obedient, life is so much more fulfilling. I genuinely feel like a new person. And that brings us back to deeper waters. After VidSummit, I started reflecting on my vision in life. What is it that I really hope to accomplish in my time on this earth? I'll never forget driving one night and just praying over and over, God, what are you calling me to? God, what are you calling me to? I sounded like a broken record, but I couldn't stop because I could just feel that I was missing something. And all of a sudden, that's when it hit me. God reminded me of the gifts and talents he's given me and what I'm naturally good at. I believe that God has gifted me with communication. I've been using that gift over on my main YouTube channel for 14 years now. I'm able to articulate ideas and bring perspective and teach things, and it hit me. Why am I not doing that for the Lord? The answer had been right in front of me this whole time. Why would I try to fit myself into this box of being the next Elon Musk or Steve Jobs when God has given me gifts and talents that could far outreach any amount of money that I could potentially make? Of course, this is when the "did God really say" thoughts started to creep in. I started thinking, God, do we really need another YouTube channel on Christianity? Because there's already so many out there. But I have this burning passion in my heart to reach believers that were in the same position I was. Believers who have the head knowledge. Maybe they grew up in church. Maybe they were on fire for Jesus at one point and then somehow, some way, they lost it. They lost it and they're not walking in that daily relationship anymore. And those are the believers that I want to reach. And honestly, a lot of the content out there is either for new believers trying to reach the lost, or it's the theology and apologetics resources for believers that want to go really deep. But what about everyone in between? I would argue that's the majority of people who identify as Christians. I feel like a new person since I grasped the concept of fully surrendering my life to the Lord, and I hope to help every believer who watches this content access the same thing. Ultimately, I believe you have to have your own encounter with God before you can fully grasp this concept, but I hope I can play a small part in nudging you in that direction. So here's my vision for Deeper Waters. I want to be radically transparent with my faith. I want to make videos when I read something inspirational in the Word and have some thoughts on it. I want to have conversations with pastors and leaders who are way ahead of me in their faith journey so we can all be inspired. If that's a journey you'd like to be part of, be sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and check out the link below where you can join the newsletter so you'll be notified when there's new content. And when we've got some additional videos published, you can click over here to watch the next one.